Welcome to another episode of Founder Unfiltered, what founders think but never say. It's our first episode with the new brand. I'm your host, Bradley Jacobs, founder and CEO of Mylance. And today I'm joined by Julee Gracey. Julee's a business coach, speaker, and author of Highly Confident, Overcoming Self-Doubt, Apologizing Less, and Finally Living with Freedom. After a high-profile career as an international model and television personality, Julee went on to sell millions in real estate, which turned into a mission to help entrepreneurs and leaders build confidence that is grounded in self-trust, emotional intelligence, and purposeful action. Julee, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. I'm so excited.
Me too. And so right before this, you were telling me that it's like, yeah, my team wrote that intro. I've done a lot of cool shit. As you think about the stuff that you've done, and I'm really curious about the pivots you've made from model and television personality to real estate to your current mission, what's been the driving force behind those pivots to get you to where you are today?
Yeah, that's a good question. I've been asked that before, and I don't always know. It's when you look backwards that you see the reasons why, right? But sometimes when you're moving forward towards something like, oh, I want this new challenge, and maybe you don't have a clear picture of why you want to do that, but I just always wanted to challenge myself to do more, to be more. Like, what else do I not know? What else could I do? And we think about, especially as entrepreneurs, the possibilities, right? We think differently. If you're listening to this podcast, we think differently. Trust me, I am married. I'm happily married for 23 years to an amazing man, and he is corporate CEO America. He thinks differently than I do, especially when it comes to business. And we definitely need both. But for our entrepreneurs, it's always that risk, that challenge of what if I did this? What if I did? And I think along my journey, there was just opportunities that were presented. And I've learned to kind of just grab a hold of the opportunity and not necessarily know where it leads, but boy, it's going to be a wild ride either way.
When I hear, maybe the audience hears, you made millions in real estate, most people be like, okay, like that's great. Why would you ever leave that? So I'm guessing there was something.
You're right. But that one, there is a clear reason. So I became a mother. That's why. And so what we teach a lot is, what are you willing to give up to go after your dreams? One of the things that is foundational in what I teach is, what are you not willing to give up? Because too often, especially as entrepreneurs, founders, we are 80 hours a week, up at night, up early, sacrificing sleep, health, relationships. And in the beginning, we do that because we're trying to build this into something that gets some momentum. But there comes a point of where you're giving up too much. And for me, yes, I was very successful in real estate, but I have a husband who travels during the week, and I have children who, started to be very aware as they got older that either their mother was present or their mother was not. And so I had to really stop and say, is it worth it? Am I willing to give up those weekends with my children, with my husband? And I wasn't willing to do it. And so I worked really hard and made a lot of money. We made some great investments that I realized I didn't have to, right? I didn't feel that pressure of, yes, I can step back from that and be present with my family, because I assure you, as my youngest child is going to be headed off to college next year, and guess I'll have all the time in the world to make more money. And so, Bradley, I think for some people, it's just challenging of what should I give up and why at what time? And that was something for me I wasn't willing to give up. Now, how can I use all of that success that I had? Well, I use that for my own real estate investments, which I'm really good at. I use that to coach other people who want to grow their real estate businesses. I'm really good at that as well. So I still get to take all the lessons that I've learned with that and use it in a way that now works better for my schedule and my family.
I might be projecting here, but I'm also curious. I'm hearing the lifestyle answer and the trade-offs and wanting to be present with your family, and real estate really didn't afford that. My guess is, and maybe correct me if this is wrong, was there something also around like the money is great, but I'm looking for something more in how I deliver value, in what I have to give, in supporting other people, like almost like a service or purpose-based reason for the shift. Like, did that come up at all?
It did. It did in the sense that I was finding success very fast in what I was doing. And I was having other agents come to me to say, Julie, teach me your ways. What are you doing? You just got here. You know no one, and you have, $1 million real estate deals immediately. Like, who do you know? I'm like, I know everyone. And I would teach them, and I loved teaching. I loved showing them because I truly believe everyone has deep talents and skills to offer. They need a mentor to show them the way. And I realized I really love mentoring other people. I was lucky enough to grow up with amazing people that surrounded me and spoke life into me and built my confidence from a very young age. And I realized, oh, you guys don't have that. You are not moving forward because you're doubting yourself and you don't know if you're worth it. I'm like, oh, well, I don't have that problem. I jump in with both feet and we'll figure it out later. And so I realized that was a skill that I could teach other agents. So I love that, being able to serve them in that way and then build other people up so they could go and work the weekends and build their real estate company. And so that's where I really started getting into mentoring other people, and it led into my business today.
So what I'm hearing you say is you recognize that you had this somewhat superpower of, like, you didn't really have the self-doubt that you were seeing in a lot of other agents that helped you be successful, and realize that you could support them in growing their confidence that would also help them be more successful. You have something to teach.
Yeah. And it fit what am I willing to give up? What am I not willing to give up? Because I wasn't willing to give up all that time on the weekends with clients, because I assure you, everyone's like, oh, well, you didn't have to work weekends as a realtor. Anyone that is a real estate agent, yes, you do. You know this. And so it allowed me to still be a part of that business and still grow and give back in a way that it worked better for myself and my family. So it was a good transition.
I want to go back in time a little bit. And you were on TV, you were modeling, right?
Yeah.
And not from personal experience, but when I hear about it, modeling can be so challenging from a internal world of, like, how you're being perceived. It's all about how you look and how you present yourself, right? And that can come with a lot of internal challenges and self-doubt. And so I'm really curious to hear from your point of view, given you shared you really have this confidence because you were brought up in that way. Was that challenging as a model? Was it not? Like, what was your experience there?
Oh, yeah. I mean, you have to develop a thick skin. If you're not certain about who you are as a person and you have boundaries on what you're willing to say no to, yeah, it'll chew you up and spit you out really quick. It's not for the faint at heart. And I watched this happen to many girls, especially, and, see them make choices that were not good because they just didn't have good boundaries on their values. And that was an area I definitely had no problem saying no. And I credit that to having really great parents that taught me really great morals and values. This is the line. This is the gray area. This is the black. This is the white. You don't cross this line. And there you go. And be willing to live with the consequence of that. And so with modeling, it was a mental game. You are a product on a shelf. When you go into these castings, you go into auditions, I assure you, in California and LA, there are thousands of Julee Graceys. 5'9", blonde hair, blue-eyed. At the time, I was a size 0, and you walk into these castings. So how are you different? You have to make yourself the best version of you, but you're a product on a shelf. So you think if you walk into a CVS and you walk down the aisle and you're getting some face wash, there's tons of products. And someone's going to walk by and they're going to choose one based on what they see that they want. Doesn't mean that it makes you any less, right? Then the next audition you go in and then they're going to choose you instead of the next product. That's it. It's all on the outside. I would find that people would place their whole value, their identity, their worthiness on just the outside, right? And so I was very blessed that I knew that actually my worthiness was from the inside, not the outside. This was something that, I believe God gives us lots of gifts, and this was one. Okay, how do I use this to better my life and better other people's lives? And so that's how I always viewed it. Not like, look at me, I'm so beautiful. It was, how can I use this? Ultimately, Bradley, I just wanted to travel. So I would look at magazines. I'd be like, oh, well, these girls model. If I could model, that means I could travel. And I did. And I went overseas, walked runways in Milan, lived in LA. I just had such an amazing experience, but I was chasing the experience, not the notoriety.
So it's such a easy thing to say, maybe in practice. I mean, it can be really challenging. And yes, I think a lot does depend on your childhood and how your parents spoke to you, treated you, allowed yourself to be you, all that kind of stuff. But when we really boil it down and we go a layer deeper to say, okay, if you get feedback in a casting shoot that you're not the item on the shelf that they pick, right? And it's not about you, right? And you don't make it about you. How in practice do you actually, whether you do it yourself, like I'd love to hear your personal answer and how you suggest it for your clients. It's one thing to know that. It's like, okay, this isn't personal. Okay, no worries. I get it. But it can still sting, it can still be really painful. It can still how do you actually do that? And then how do you suggest for your clients?
Yeah, absolutely. It can sting, but that's it. I almost see it's like, it can hit you on the outside, but don't let it sink to the inside. So while I help my clients build their resilience in this area, because it does take practice.
Yeah.
It doesn't like, okay, it's never going to get to me. Yeah, it does. Yeah. It absolutely does. And so with my clients, as they're going out and they're trying to make sales and they're doing pitches and they're getting turned down, or they're making a call and someone's nasty to them on the phone, part of what I do is like, you don't hold on to that. You give it to me. I will eat that stuff for breakfast. And that's how I can get them like, almost like hold their hand a little bit in a sense while they're out there doing something. Oh man, that person was really angry and they yelled at me and they hung up on me. That's going to sit in them. They're going to take that energy into that next call, into that next meeting. So they know you send that to me. You get on a call, you text that to me. Somebody was nasty with me. I'm in a funk. I will jump wherever I am on a call and be like, give it to me right now. What happened? And it's like I'm an aggressive cheerleader. You know what I mean? It's like I've been described that way multiple times of no. You take that off you. I'm so proud of you. You went out there and you pushed to get something, and you wouldn't get that nasty reply if you weren't out there pushing forward in your business. That's just part of it. And we talked earlier before we jumped on here about the things that founders go through of like you get punched in the face multiple times a day. Welcome to being an entrepreneur. If you don't want to experience that, go back to corporate, go back to that. And so that's part of how I help build that resilience with my clients of like, oh, wow, this didn't go well, but I didn't die and I'm going to go do it again. And you kind of build that up in them. But personally, it does. It can get to you sometimes, but you've got to stop and be like, okay, well, that sucked. All right, now what? And I would say, I give myself a 2-minute pity party. I get 2 minutes, all the things, and let it all out. Poor me. I don't deserve this. Oh, that was terrible. I feel so bad. All right. And then you just kind of look around and be like, well, are we done? Did we get all that out? Yep. Okay. And then what can I do? And maybe it's that I need to take a break and I don't know, go eat some ice cream. I mean, that's probably not the best analogy, but I'm like, I need food. Food always makes me happy. And you just move on. That's part of sales. That's part of entrepreneurship. So you have to get used to the rejection, to the harsh words. It's welcome to the club.
Yeah. And I also tell people it's not about you, right? Especially if someone's really rude to you on the phone, that's about them and what's going on in their life. You probably don't know what's going on in their life, but for all you know, they're going through divorce or their dog just died or whatever. They had some bad traffic this morning, so they're taking it out on you, but it really
absolutely
has nothing to do with you.
Absolutely. And so once you start learning that, when someone comes at you with that negative energy, it almost makes you pause and say, hey, how are you doing?
Yeah, you okay?
What's going on with you?
Yeah.
Listen, I hear the words that you're saying, but I just, forgive me if this is too personal, but is everything okay with you? I mean that sincerely.
Yeah.
Because I've worked with you before and I feel like, is there something I can do for you?
Mm-hmm.
Right? When you have that true sense of empathy, it's not about me.
Right.
And I almost like, if you're angry, I almost am glad that give it to me because I can take it. Don't take that home to your child. Don't take that home to your spouse. I can take a lot. So why don't you give all that to me? And that's what I love allowing my clients to do because they'll get on there. They're financially stressed. Their relationships are stressed. They've got so much going on and they get on and they'll just like let it all out. And I'm telling you, probably about 97% of my clients have cried on coaching calls with me. And they would never open themselves up like that to anyone else. But I'm honored that I can hold that space for them, because nowhere else in their life do they get to break down a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. Just
right. We've got it. We are the leader. We are the leader. We got to be strong for our team, for our family. But where do you get to let that guard down and just be like, I'm struggling. Like, this is rough. I'll be like, let me have it. Okay. Did you get it all out? Okay. All right. Now let's make a plan. What are we going to do about it?
Right.
Right. And so I love holding that space for people.
And I loved your 2-minute recommendation. I know you kind of like threw it off the cuff, but it's a real strategy, because we often don't let ourselves have that time to feel. Like, it's allowed to hurt. It's allowed to be painful. It's allowed to be uncomfortable. And I think often we just kind of keep going, or we distract. I'm going to jump to my phone. I'm going to, whatever. And it's like, no, even 2 minutes of allowing yourself to feel all of the negative things that you just said of like, oh, I feel like a piece of shit right now. And okay, like, let's go. And that can be, that's the tool. I mean, it really is. It sounds so simple, but I think most people don't allow that.
Yeah. And luckily I have the most amazing husband who understands that. He understands, like, unless I specifically ask you for advice, please just nod and listen and say, I'm here for you.
Yeah.
23 years of bliss. That's right there is probably one of the best tips. Is sometimes he'll work from home and I'll go down to his office and I'm like, one of those moments I'll be like, I just need a minute, and I'll just like let it out. And then this happened and this, and I'm so angry and I'm so frustrated. And like, it's always the joke. I'm like, I'm going to cut off my hair. I'm going to drive a minivan and just quit. And I'm going to just make sourdough bread and grow cucumbers in the backyard. I'm done. I just quit. I'm done. Right. And then he'll just be like, come here. And I just sit on his lap and he'll hug me for a minute. And I'll be like, okay, thanks. I got to go. Yeah. And then that's it. And I come right back up to my office and I get right back to it. And it's just, you can put some humor behind it, but it's just allow yourself that moment, because I don't know any entrepreneur that doesn't have those moments. But the trick is, Bradley, is don't take that negative energy into the next call. Don't take that negative energy into the next task. That's why I said, sometimes it's like, get up and go, I don't know, go touch grass, go walk around the yard and curse at it, and like, just get that out, reassess, right? But again, the worst thing you can do is continue to push that forward into your day. And then that's why you have those really crappy days, because you never gave yourself the moment to be human and get those emotions out.
And for the people listening that don't have the situation you have, where you basically like taught your husband, all right, this is what I need from you, right? You can find that in other people in your life. You can find it from friends, coaches, right? Like, probably not your employees or, people like that, but like, find the people in your life where like, and tell them, set them up for success. Like, I just need a listener. Right? I need you to just literally listen to me. I don't need you to actually say anything. Or maybe like, that must be hard. I don't know. Like, I need very, very, very little. Because the people that go into problem solving for you, they think that's what you need, but you don't. I'm like, please don't give me advice, suggestions, problem solve. Please. Like, I just literally need to vent for 2 minutes and like, tell me it's going to be okay.
Yeah. And that comes from, and I'll tell you right now, that is just really intelligent communication. And so I'll tell you, before I got married, I went to a marriage counselor and said, tell me what I don't know, because I win at what I do. I win, and I'm getting married and I win. So tell me what I don't know, so I have the tools. And that was one of the tools actually that I learned. And it works in business too. So to go with him and say, look, she just needs you to listen. You're a lot of guys, you're a fixer. Oh, she's coming to me. Let me come and save the day. Even though in your mind, if you think, well, this is super easy, just do X, Y, Z, you're going to have the opposite response that you think that you're going to get. And so, and remembering from myself is, if I actually want help, use the words to say, I'm struggling with this. I would love your suggestion. I would love your feedback. But unless I say that, he knows, like, and not just, fake, but I understand.
Right.
Is there anything I can do to help you?
Right.
That alone right there, I'm telling you. I mean, one marriage, 23 years, pretty happy. But it works for that in business too, with your staff, with your team. They're coming to you with problems. Sometimes it's challenging because you're like, dude, just go do this, go execute this. Stopping and being human for a moment. I'm the one that has to because I like to execute. Remembering the human side of being like, okay, what are your solutions that you've come up with for that? That's one of the big things is don't come to me with just problems. What are some solutions or options that you've thought of or you've tried? And then, okay, do you need my help on this? Or are you in a moment of frustration?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. That communication alone does wonders.
Yeah. And I think we can apply it to customers as well, right? If you're talking to a customer and they're not happy with something or frustrated, whatever it is, I don't go straight into problem solving mode. I'm always listener first, curious first, what's really going on, what's underneath this. Like it's an opportunity as me as a founder to learn like what's working and what's not working in my product. And they also might be pissed about something else in their life that again has nothing to do with me. Like it could be my product, but maybe it's not. So by being curious and just holding space for that person, like what's really going on here? Sometimes I get a like, oh, good question. Like I'm actually really upset from earlier and this isn't has nothing to do with you. I'm like, oh, okay. Glad I asked because otherwise I'm like solving problems that aren't there.
Yeah. And a lot of times they're just complaints. They're just complaints. They're not the real objection, right? That's we go into sales and same with customer service of they're getting on, this is troubling. And you're like, tell me more. I hear you. Tell me more. What else? You're digging down. I hear this. I hear what you're saying here, but there's got to be something else. What is it? Right? And like getting down to the actual real objection. And you'll find that what they first said was the problem is very different from the thing that they said at the very end. When you start asking really good questions and like you said, holding that space, letting them let it out. And you're right. They probably are just angry about a lot of other things and you just happen to catch all of it.
So I could talk about this like one-on-one relationship piece forever. I love it. But I want to get back to also as a founder and really, you've talked about emotional intelligence is really the most important and overlooked assets in leadership. And first of all, I want to even define it, right? We kind of throw around emotional intelligence all the time. In your eyes, what does it really mean? And why is it the most important asset in leadership today?
Being aware of your own emotions and how you affect other people. And being aware that you don't have to absorb all the emotions in the room. So especially for coaching, I get on with people that are stressed. They are angry. They're upset. They have challenges with their relationships and their businesses. They just lost $100,000 and they're getting on like they're in a bad space. Now, if I have sympathy, I'm going to come get down in that mud with you. You're deep right now. I'm going to come get down in there with you. That is not what they need. I will have empathy that you are struggling here, but I'm not going to get down in there with you. Mm-hmm. I'm going to stand here on the side and I'm going to listen to you and I'm going to help you find a path out of that, right? And understanding that not everybody has the life that you have. They don't look at things through your lens. I see things because of how I was raised and things that I was taught. This is how I see the world. That emotional intelligence, that is not the case for everyone. And how can I, like we said before, hold space for other people's view of the same thing, right? Not make them wrong and I'm right. But also, we talk about being coachable, open-mindedness of that I can learn from other people too. Even if I am their leader, even if I am the boss, they also know things that I could probably learn. And so for me, having that emotional intelligence of not always being reactive to the emotions around you, be that calm in the storm. Mm-hmm. And that takes practice. Yeah. And sometimes we get angry, we get upset ourselves is then what is your system to bring yourself back down? Is it breathing exercise? Is it going out and taking a walk and moving your body? Is it stepping aside? Whatever it is, remembering to put that practice in place. And the more that you do it, the more it becomes very natural to where I don't have to get up and go have a 2-minute pity party very often anymore. It's more of like about 15 seconds, a few deep breaths, little stretch. Okay. Maybe I just need to focus on a task that is joyful right now and then come back to the challenging task,
So for the founder that's like, yeah, this all sounds a little fluffy, right? Like I'm tuning into emotions in the room and I'm not taking it on. All I care about is growth and profitability and building the right product, right? It's very, especially a lot of male founders, right? We think very linearly structured, like, hey, I need more customers and to keep the ones I have, Like that's what I need, right? And you're talking about all this emotional shit. Like, why is that important? Like, why is it so freaking important? How does it tie the end of the day to business growth and performance?
Yeah. So your business, who you're trying to sell to, you're selling this product that you think has no emotion. You're selling that product to another human. I don't care what product you sell, what service you sell. On the other side of that is another human. So while you can look logically, and trust me, I was trained by Grant Cardone for 3 years. I was one of his elite right hands in sales. So when you talk about no emotion, all logic, high stakes, high pressure, I know all about it. I love coaching my guys. But here's the thing. On the other side of that is a human. So if you don't pay attention to that, that maybe is part of the reason you don't have the sales. Because you have to have that connection. Remember, we sell with emotion, we close with logic. You're trying to go for the close, which is great. Male, dominant, closing, closing, closing. You're forgetting the key part of the sale, which is emotion. It is tied to emotion. So it is in there. As much as I teach like setting emotions aside and executing, it is a part of the sales process. So it's something you have to recognize. And I'm like that. I want to get to the close. What do you need? Let's get it done. I am very much that energy. I myself had to stop, ask those really great questions, dive into the emotion of what they're needing so that I can get to the part that I really like, which is the close in the sale.
It's bringing me to one of my favorite books, business books, is Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss.
He's amazing.
It's so good. And he basically talks about if someone feels heard, they'll do anything you want. I do everything I can to make sure that my potential customer feels heard in their experience, in their problems, in their frustrations. My experience is when they feel heard by me, they're in. Like they'll buy. That's the difference.
Yeah. And I think that where some people struggle is, okay, I'm going to listen. And I'm listening to this person talk for half an hour about all their problems. Like, no, you're not their therapist. That's why you need to have a sales script and a process. Where am I in this process of sales? Okay. And then how do I okay, they're going on and on. How do I ask a specific question to get them back into my sales process? So I'm still listening, but I'm also controlling the sale. So a lot of times we talk about our guys are like, oh, I've got to listen. Yes, you have to listen, but we have certain things to pull them back into your sale to get that process going the way you want it. You can direct them.
I know you have a bunch of different principles in your book, Highly Confident. If you could pick one, the most important principle that I could apply, that every founder listening could apply to their business for both their inner foundation and outer results, what would it be?
That's a really great question, Bradley. Just say no. See behind me, if you're looking at the video, there's a big sign behind me. It literally says no.
Yeah.
The reason I have that behind me is because when I'm coaching clients and they're asking me something, I'm like, what do you think my answer is going to be? It's a reminder, boundaries, setting boundaries, saying no. And a lot of it is setting boundaries on yourself. You know, we think setting boundaries with other people are time, but it's really you. You're distracted. You're doing things you don't need to do. Bigger clients that I've worked with, immediately the first thing I have them do is a time audit. And, they might moan about it a little bit. I'm like, it's not an option. If you want to work with me, you're doing a time audit because we're going to go find out where you're spending your time every 15 minutes. And the more honest you are about that, the better the results. I mean, I have my contractor that was down in Florida and he's like, I'm doing so much contract work. It's hard to build my business. Well, we found 97 hours in 1 month he didn't need to be doing. So do you think that he could probably use those 97 hours to help grow his business? I have another amazing gal. She's out of Kansas. She has a medical staffing company. Made her do it. And so very hard for her to do. She's like, I don't have time to do this. I'm too busy. I'm like, that's the exact reason you have to do this. We found 47 hours in 1 week. She was just doing scheduling and billing. Immediately hired somebody to fill that role. Now she has those hours back. So that mindfulness, if you're just, I'm working so hard, but I'm not getting enough done. This is something you could do on your own. Do a time audit for 1 week, not a week when you're traveling, but just 1 week where every 15 minutes, sun up to sundown, write down what you do. And maybe it's that I don't know, I went on the news and just scrolled for an hour. I had to literally write down that I watched squirrels out of my window one time, and I was so embarrassed that every time I walk past that window, I don't look at it anymore, because I was just like, oh my God, I literally have to write down squirrels on this. But it makes you so aware that it just eats up your day. It eats it up 15 minutes here, 10 minutes here, 20 minutes here. And when you are a founder and you're trying to grow your business, you don't have time for that.
It's an exercise I should do. I know I should. And
I'm going to challenge you to do it, Bradley.
I know, Julie, I'll do it. There's others. I know there's going to be things I write down with so much cringe of like, I can't believe I'm, because I'm not perfect, right? I'll scroll Twitter, I'll scroll Instagram also. And I have all these things on my phone that remind me, oh, like you've been scrolling for 3 minutes. Like you could stop right now. It's just part of it. And it's good. It's just information, right? Just feedback.
And that's what I'm going to say is I always tell people, this isn't about shaming you.
Right.
This isn't about embarrassing you. It's about awareness, which awareness is the first step to anything that we want to do. Emotional intelligence, awareness. And so it's awareness of your time. And I do this, I teach this, but when I get off track, like I didn't work out at all last week. Okay, something crept in. Guess what I get to do? I force myself to do a time audit, because it's not like we got something off of our schedule. And now I just have this block of time where I don't have anything to do. That never happens. You have like all these other things that are going to fill it up really fast. So you have to be really mindful of what you say yes to. And I love to say yes. Yes, I can do that. Yes, I can take that call. And then I get overwhelmed and then I'm not getting anything done. So that would be the number one thing I would say is just say no. Learn to manage your time. What are you doing with your time? And say no to anything that doesn't support your health, wealth, relationships, or your joy.
And the 15 minutes, I mean, are you really setting a timer like on your phone every 15 minutes? And then at the end of that, writing down what you did for the last 15 minutes? Is that basically what you're doing?
You can do it that way. And the clock on your phone every 15 minutes. Absolutely. And that's where, then you don't have to think about it. Like, oh, did I write that down?
Right.
And it's just like, it went off. Great. Write it down. Went off. Now it's challenging because you do that for a week. You're constantly interrupting your day.
Right.
I think I did the 15 minutes a few days and then I got into the habit where I could just, okay, I know what I did the last hour. But ultimately, the whole goal is then you go back into that after a week and reflect. Where was I? We say in business, 80% of your time should be prospecting and going after new sales. So in the hours that you're working, 80% of that time should be going after new business. And then you wonder why you don't make sales, because I guarantee everyone listening, if you did that exercise, I can almost guarantee it. And if you did, congratulations, high five, you don't even need me. But you'll have people on that are like, oh, it was only like 5% of my time. Yeah. And then you're like, no wonder I don't have any sales. No wonder I'm not growing. Yeah. Okay, so how do we switch that? How do we get that up to 20%, then 30%? And, they're like 80% of the time I have to deliver what I sell. I understand. So maybe that's in your business. You need to hire someone in sales. Now they're going after sales while you're delivering, right? We start that process and it's a beautiful process to walk through. And because so many of us here, we're founders. We don't want to go to corporate America. We want to carve our own path. So having a mentor that helps you, guides you so that you can be in your business, having someone outside of your business that can see from a bird's eye view of, hey, you're going down the wrong path, turn left here, turn right here. It's invaluable. I haven't done anything in my life worth anything without a mentor. Every success that I've had has had a mentor.
I'm so glad you shared that, because I think we forget, right? We forget that every professional, like if you just look at athletes for a second, everyone has a coach, and they actually have multiple coaches, right? When you really mindset, performance, and nutrition and physics, whatever. But they all have a coach. Tiger Woods, best golfer in the world ever. He had a coach, and his coach didn't win the Masters 6 times to teach Tiger how to win the Masters 6 times. Right. So it's not like people are like, oh, how can you coach that if you've never done it? It's like, that's just not how it works. But every athlete, every professional has a coach. Everyone.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Do you think that, look at Tom Brady. It was a joke about, the most useless job in the world was to be Tom Brady's coach. And I was like, can you imagine trying to beat Tom Brady's quarterback coach? I'm like, no, I guarantee you Tom Brady very much needs his coach. In fact, I have one of his early coach's books and it's fantastic. That's always what who do you look up to? Who was their coach? Those are the books I want to buy. We like to buy, the book from the athlete, which is great. But I want to buy the book of their coach because that is where the lessons really come from. So I find that I go find who is Tom Brady's coach. I'm going to go read his book because behind every single one of them are, like you said, multiple coaches. So then you want to go build a brand new business. You want to be a founder and I'm just going to wing it and do it alone.
Yeah.
That's just an ignorant way to approach it. Don't make it harder on yourself.
Right. It's an ego, right? I can do it. I can do it all myself. And it's like, no, even if you could, it would be so much harder and you'll make so many more mistakes than if you just had someone. Like no one is probably doing something for the first time at this point. Like it's been done in some way, shape, or form. Just learn from what's worked and what hasn't worked. Right? We don't need to make it. I know I am guilty of this, making it harder on myself than it needs to be, for sure.
That's right. We need to drink our own Kool-Aid, right?
100%. Around the sales piece, 80%. Like I love that as the North Star. Like there's no way I do that. So I'd love to audit my own. But so many founders really struggle with visibility, with self-promotion, right? So it's probably one of the reasons it's not 80%. It's like that is scary. My business needs it and it's scary. But from your experience working with founders, what's really holding people back from showing up confidently? And then how do you help them break through that?
You hit the nail on the head, Bradley. It's that I am so good at this. I've worked hard. I've specialized. I've trained. I have results. I hope that people see it. We've been trained when we're young. Guess what? When you went to school, were you praised for standing up and being loud?
Nope.
No. You were told to sit down and ask permission. Otherwise, it's rude. You were told that talking about yourself was bragging, right? You're bragging about yourself. When you've been raised that way, then you want to go and be an entrepreneur and have your own business. It's the complete opposite of everything that you have been taught. So it really is a mental thing. And some people can't get past that. That's why we're going to hire someone else to speak for you. A great example is the intro you just read. My PR team out of New York wrote that. I did not write that because I'd be like, I've done a lot of fun shit. That's how I would describe myself because even myself, hey, yes, I've sold millions of real estate. I used to walk runways in Milan. I was People Magazine's 100 Most Beautiful. Like, it's so counterintuitive to be like, listen to me talk about myself. But in business, you have to do that. You have to put yourself out there. Here's the thing. If you have a product or a service that truly can serve other people, then it's your job to go find them. It's not their job to come find you, right? And I know that we all have products and services that are better than the competition, but the competition still sells their product and those people suffer because they didn't know you existed. So that's where you have to think, you're so concerned about yourself. Oh, I don't like how my voice sounds. I don't like being on camera or talking about myself. Okay. Well, isn't that really selfish?
Mm-hmm.
It's mindset. Isn't that really selfish that you have something that would serve someone else, but you're so worried about yourself that you won't go and give them the service. You won't go make yourself known. That's how it works. And if that's still a challenge for you, then get a team, get a PR team, get a marketing team that is outside of you that can put all those things together and put them out and kind of go brag on you without you. I mean, I have a team that does it for me sometimes and I read it and I'm like, oh, wow, I sound pretty badass. Okay, cool. But for me to go and say that, yeah, look at me, I've done these things, it can feel odd. But ultimately, if you don't go and sell whatever your product and service is, you don't have a business, you have a hobby.
Love so much. I was like taking some notes as you were talking. I was like, love so much of what you shared. So I want to circle back our last quick thread before we run out of time. It's been kind of eating at me and it keeps coming back. So I'm going to just bring it to the surface. So you talked about building resilience in whether it's getting rejected or someone yells at you or just is mad at you or whatever it is as a founder. And you said that you are then kind of that outlet for your clients, right? You're like, hey, okay, I can handle it. Like, come tell me what happened and I'll kind of give you a reframe for it, or even just you can say it and then, all right, get back on the field. Like, you're good now. And it's so important for it to come from within. And so I'm hearing you, and I'm curious about the distinction here in your answer of like, all right, the client's upset at me. I take it on. I go tell Julie. Julie listens and tells me it's okay. How am I building resilience from within if I'm then just getting it like the affirmation or something from you? Like, how do you think about that?
Yeah, I think of it as like working out. I mean, the first time you work out, you're going to, lift some 15s, right? You're going to curl some 15s. They're going to feel pretty heavy. You have to continue to go back to it and build your strength in that area. That's what I help them do. Eventually, they won't need me to hold their hand, but I am that resource for them when stuff hits the fan, because it does. And if they don't have anyone else in their life that they could turn to, I'm there for them for that. Now, there's a difference between coming to me and complaining that this is hard. Absolutely not. Nope. They know better than that. But they just went out and they tried something. They did the thing. Then they come to me and then I can say, okay, what are we going to do about it? And then we make a plan. And sometimes it's helping them reframe what happened. Sometimes it's listening and saying like, you know what? Yep, that sucks. But then getting them focused on, why are you doing this? Okay. Knowing that as you go down this path, this is going to happen again. This exact scenario is going to happen again. So, did you die? Nope. What are we going to do? Okay. And I just help them get out of that mind space. And eventually they're going to be like, okay, this is the steps I walk through of like, okay, well, they're going to do a 2-minute pity party. Okay. What does that look like for you? And then you get back to it and they learn that tool themselves. But as their coach, as their mentor, if they've never done that, I'm there to help them walk down that path. And again, with entrepreneurship, founders, it's beautiful. And this is the part too I want to make sure we touch on is it should be fun. If your business is not fun, you're not enjoying it, you're showing up and like, man, this sucks. You're doing it wrong. You're absolutely doing it wrong. It doesn't have to be that way. And so for me, I do tend to use a lot of humor in my coaching. Trust me, I'm very serious. We execute, we make sales, we win, the end. But then how can I bring joy into it? Of like, all right, who's ready to get hung up on today? Who's ready to get yelled at? Okay, you know what? I haven't got yelled at by any clients today. That means I'm not making enough phone calls. Who could I go and piss off today? You put a little bit of humor because that's the reality of it. Yeah. And it just becomes so much more joyful.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you're not taking things personally. You're almost looking for, all right, like I get to basically piss someone off today because then I am pushing hard enough. I'm going after my vision and it's not about my ego or how I feel about myself. Like, no, I'm here to add value. Okay. So that's just part of it. So
yeah, like Bradley, okay, how many people did you piss off today? How many people hung up on you? How many times did you get told no? This beautiful word back here. If you didn't hear it all day, you didn't make enough phone calls. Right. Or actually, I called 10 people and all 10 people bought my product. Okay. That's they're like so proud. That's a red flag.
Right.
That's an absolute red flag. First of all, you need to put that price up higher. You're not making enough calls. Like we need to get that down to where you have about a 30% closing rate.
Yeah. Yeah. Love that.
That means now we're making enough calls. Now we're pushing harder, right? So I could go into all the details, but yeah, it should be fun.
Yeah. Man, I could talk to you all day, Julie. It's so fun. We're about out of time. I want to give you an opportunity. You've been amazing. If anybody wants to work with you, they want to read your book, they want your coaching, how do they get in touch with you? What does that look like?
Like we talked about, one of the easiest things is to just use the tools from my book, Highly Confident. This is it right here, if you're watching. You can find Highly Confident. It's on Amazon. I do have the audiobook out now, which is in my voice. So that I'm super excited about that. But I do have, I have boot camps that I have multiple times a year. They are really about the foundations of business. We go after selling. We go after how do I get to that 80% of prospecting? And then I have a course that's confidence on camera. If you're one of those founders that you need to put yourself on camera and start speaking about your product or your service, because that is the number one way to get attention for your business. I have a course for that too. So I really have a lot of tools for business owners and founders. I do have some high-level one-on-one executive coaching available as well. So ultimately, I just want people to find that confidence in what they're doing, because I know if you are a founder, you are an entrepreneur, your brain works a little differently. And that's exactly who I love to work with and support.
Amazing. Well, and you, Julie, you practice it, right? It's one thing for someone to come on and be like, I hope you look amazing on camera or present confidently. And then they don't. And you're like, well, I don't know. Something's off here. But like, you practice it the way that you show up. And so testament to the work you've done. And I'm sure how you support your clients. So
thank you so much.
Yeah. Well, thanks for being with us, Julie. It's great to have you. And I look forward to version 2, because I could keep this conversation going for a long time.